Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone. Welcome to your number one source for Native American television news, Muskogee Vision. I am your host, Jason Salzman, here in the Muskogee Media Studios, and we have got a fantastic show lined up for you this week. A lot of great things to share with you. A lot of great things to share with you not only this week, but next week. Got some good stories lined up. A lot of great content here. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can see we've really been hustling, a lot of things to cover out there, a lot of things to discuss. So really neat news happenings going on in and around Indian country, Muskogee Creek Nation country. So we'll have it all for you right here on the program today, and as I said, on the online channel. So we want to encourage you to keep going to the online channel. Hit that red subscribe button. You'll get all of our content on demand and some great things up there right now. But this week, we have got a fantastic show. Like I said, we'll be talking to a young Muskogee Creek artist that is out at the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe. She's going to join us via the internet to talk with us on her really just being in school out there and getting her art career started, everything like that. So she's really excited to tell us about that. Also, they're getting a makeover at the Muskogee Dome. New floor, new seats, all kinds of great things. That's going to be a really special treat to be able to share with you guys. And a very special look at a very special monument memorial coming to Creek Country right here. So all of that and more after this first break. You're watching Muskogee Vision.
I was having a real hard time and a lot of stress in my family. I felt like I didn't want to live anymore, like I couldn't take it anymore. I went to a psychiatric hospital for a few days, gathered my thoughts, and got some medication for my depression and anxiety. I started going to behavioral health for counseling, learned better ways to communicate and talk to my family, and healthy ways to cope with my feelings. If I hadn't got any help, I might not be here now.
I know when you know someone who is struggling that they may think there is no one to listen. I lost my son, Tyler, to suicide. Don't wait to ask the question. Be direct. Ask your loved one, are you thinking of taking your life? Ask before it's too late.
As part of our grand reopening, we're partnering with Muskogee Media.
We're just getting ready to do another one of our $100 shopping spree giveaways, and I wanted to give a big thank you to the Muskogee Media for sponsoring this event.
Like Randy's Foods and Muskogee Media on Facebook and share this video for the drawing.
And welcome back to Muskogee Vision as we get started with this week's first story. And it comes to us from one of the most decorated military families in Muskogee Creek Nation. That is the Coon family. The patriarch, Philip Coon, passed a few years back, but a survivor of the Bataan Death March. His son, Michael Coon, a veteran himself, and Michael's son, Philip's grandson, Michael Keith Coon, a veteran of the Iraq engagement. Now, this story comes to us because of Mission 22, a national initiative to combat veteran PTSD, and suicide. Now it's Suicide Awareness Month as well. There's a lot of things going on with Muskogee Creek Nation Behavioral Health having to do with suicide awareness. And Michael Kuhn actually lost his son to suicide coming back from the war dealing with PTSD. He is bringing the National Veteran Suicide Monument, The War at Home, to Muskogee Creek Country in Broken Arrow.
According to the Department of Veteran Affairs study, each day over 20 veterans take their own lives. Mission 22 is a national nonprofit initiative raising funds to combat veteran suicide by providing veterans with treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder. Muskogee citizen Michael Kuhn knows the battle all too well. He lost his son in 2015 to suicide and is now a steward of the national memorial called The War at Home.
Well, when it first started, I became a Mission 22 ambassador after the loss of my son. They reached out to me, wanted me to be, if it'd be okay for me to let my son be part of the Mission 22 silhouette in his honor. And I said that was fine. When I reached out and saw the other families how they were suffering, and it was hard, kind of emotional, hard for them to talk about it. But being like my father and stuff, being strong and stuff, I decided to step up and take charge of being the one to be the spokesperson for Mission 22 as far as for the families.
Next summer, the memorial will move from Norfolk, Virginia to its new home at Broken Arrows Veterans Park.
It came about that they decided that I need to be the steward of the memorial for Mission 22. And at the time, they had talked about it being a traveling memorial. But then after we did the first one at Norfolk, Virginia, which is there now, we seen that it was going to be kind of costly as far as funds to move it from state to state. So then they asked me, well, what do you think about Oklahoma presenting that to the cities? Who would want that memorial to come here? And I said, well, is it going to be moving or is it going to be permanent? And they said, no, we want it to be permanent. It to be here 50 years or longer until eternity. And so when they said that, then I started to work with Oklahoma to get going to the Mayor's Veterans Council to talk with different various organizations about getting funding as far as backing support for the memorial to come here. I reached out, when I did reach out to the council, I came up, one of the council members from Broken Arrow, Deborah Wimpy, came up and said, we want that memorial.
I met Michael at the Military History Museum here in Broken Arrow because he's donating his son's silhouette to the History Center. And I just thought, that's the first time I had heard about Mission 22 and what they stood for and how amazing that the memorial that they had was. And then fast forward to being several months later, I was at a Veterans Council meeting in Tulsa, and at that council meeting, veteran groups go around and talk about needs that they have, and I was there that day to do a thank you on an event that I had had some help with, and when they got around to them introducing themselves, he stood up and he said, you know, I've been working with Tulsa and got all the way to the city council section and it wasn't approved and they don't have a place for this monument. We really like to find a home here in Oklahoma. And I think I might have jumped out of my seat and was like, you know, Broken Arrow will take you. And which I've said, sometimes I say, we'll do it without, you know, knowing what it takes to do it. But I just thought, we've got to have this. Like, why Tulsa wasn't able to make this work, I don't know, but I think it was because we were supposed to have it.
Broken Arrow was the fit. And what brought it to me was because Broken Arrow is our Muskogee Creek Nation boundaries. And so it's like having this national monument brought here to our backyard.
We set up a meeting with our Parks Department and Scott Esmond went over kind of the logistics of, what does this mean for the city, like cost-wise or whatever, and come to find out the majority of it is all taken care of, if not all of it, by Mission 22, which is also amazing, that it's not even a burden financially on the city to have such an amazing national monument. So it was almost like a no-brainer. So when it came before the council, I mean, I already knew that we were approving it. I wanted to be able to tell them that, but it's part of that process. But leaving there that night, knowing that we are going to be able to bring this amazing monument to Broken Arrow, and I think about how our paths crossed, with Mr. Kuhn and Teresa. It's all divine. So I just think it's meant to be that we have this amazing monument. It's a national monument that the city of Broken Arrow is going to have now, and we're very proud to have it.
I'm looking at the veterans that we're still having trouble with PTSD right now. They need a place to come to where they can gather their thoughts. Every veteran has a different mission in life and stuff. And so when they come here, they'll be able to sit here and look at these 20 that went on before them to know that, hey, I can get help. That's why Mission 22 has stepped up to make it suicide awareness for vets and first responders and everyone. So that's why I think this memorial would be good for Oklahoma. Plus, it's central located in the United States, from all over the United States. This is a central place for it to be. So this is a place, to me, that I think that with the prayers and everything that I've received when I became the steward of the memorial, that this is the place that it was supposed to be. And so when I think of my son coming here, I think of the other families too, of the ones of what they had to endure, the same thing I did. And it's just like they had the same government car come up to their house to tell them that their son had taken their life, or daughter had taken their life. So to me, this is a place for all veterans to come. It doesn't have a certain group that it takes. It takes homeless, it takes people that's marital, financial, and plus being from overseas. We don't even know what they have endured over there overseas. But then when they come back, they don't have no wounds on the outside, but they're all inside and mentally. And people before would always say hush hush about why we want to. What's wrong with him? Well, we need to help them. We need to reach out and help these vets. Is what we need to do.
A very moving story there, but it's also very uplifting to see the way that Michael Kuhn has linked up with Mission 22 nationally, become a steward for the memorial, and is now bringing it to Oklahoma, and has used that as his way to heal from the loss of his son. So wonderful story. I want to thank Michael, Teresa, all the great people out there, Deborah that came out to Veterans Park, and also Kevin Barnett that helped me shoot that story. As I said in the opener, we are getting a makeover over at the Muskogee Dome. I know a lot of people out there in Okmulgee, or you drive down 75, there's no, you can't help but see the dome out there, and that's a place, a multi-purpose facility for the tribe. It's got all kinds of exercise equipment in there, a gym, but it's been a rubber floor. They're now getting a brand new hardwood floor, going to be a beautiful floor. I took a look at some of the plans. Also, they're getting new seating in there. So I went over while they were installing the floor and talked to Philip Agee, the recreation manager, about the makeover going on at the Dome. Sometimes progress is noisy. And progress is happening at the Muskogee Dome, where an all-new hardwood floor is being installed and new seating coming in November.
Right now, as you can see, we're putting down a maple floor, and we expect that to take about 4 to 6 weeks. And November the 2nd, we're scheduled to start the seating installation, and we expect that to take about a week. So when all is said and done, we're going to have some nice chairs to sit in for any event that you attend. We're going to have a nice hardwood floor featuring our seal in the middle of it. So it's going to be a really nice facility when it's done. We went, I feel like, with the best flooring system available, and it's going to give the ball more playability. So we think it's going to be a very sought after venue.
Tourism and Recreation hopes that with the new floor comes more opportunities to host revenue generating events at the Dome.
We're hoping maybe one day for a county tournament, maybe any kind of scholastic events, AAU events, anything like that. We've even had some people express some interest in league play. So and with the seats and the new floor, I think it'll be pretty appealing to everybody.
Work is progressing steadily, and they look to be fully operational in a little over 4 to 6 weeks.
They do this exclusively from what I understand. The vendors have been great to work with so far. They've all been right at or ahead of schedule. So we're hoping that trend continues with this. And I think, middle of November, we should have just about everything completed. So we're hoping to be in full swing again about that time.
And I want to thank Philip and Kyle and all the good people over there at the Muskogee Dome Tourism and Recreation Department. And it looks like it's coming along really good. And they said that the floor portion, probably 2 to 3 weeks, and then the rest on into the middle of November is when they're looking for that to be complete. So a lot of things go on in the Dome. A lot of events happen over in the Muskogee Dome. We've had some big events there at Muskogee Creek Nation. It'll be real nice to see it with new seating, new floor, and very, very excited about that for them and for the tribe. Well, our last feature this week is a phone-in interview that we did through the internet, but basically we have a Muskogee Creek youth citizen that is out in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and took a big part in this year's Indian Art Market out at Santa Fe. She's going to tell us a little bit about that, but Maddie Lamb is her name. She went to the College of Muskogee Nation, now is at the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, making quite a name for herself in the art world. Muskogee Creek art student Maddie Lamb recently moved to Santa Fe to further her education at the Institute of American Indian Arts. And welcome into the studio, Miss Maddie Lamb. She is a Muskogee Creek citizen, as we said, out there in Santa Fe, New Mexico at the Institute of American Indian Arts. And Maddie, it's we're so glad to have you on the program. We've had you on before, of course, when you were a student there at Sequoia High School, but now have gone on to College of the Muskogee Nation and have now transferred out to what you've called your dream school. So tell us a little bit about what it's been like to finally get out to Santa Fe and be at the Institute of American Indian Arts.
So far, it's been really, really awesome. Everybody out here is really inspiring and really encouraging, and they just want you to do your best out here. The environment out here is just super nice. We're surrounded by mountains. Like, it's just completely different from, back home, but it's amazing.
Yeah, and you're someone that's, of course, very young, but you're used to being, in the news and the headlines and being able to be interviewed and things like that because of all the stuff that you've done and all the work that you've been recognized for, and specifically with a national organization like Unity. And what Unity is, it's basically a network of tribal youth councils around the country. Now, you've been recognized by them before with a 25 under 25, I believe. You can tell us a little bit about that. But what's it been like to sort of work with them and be able to write for them and talk about your art with them and everything?
Well, Unity is just an amazing program by itself. They're really encouraging for with the youth and everything. They really want us to do our best, and they really want to highlight what we're doing in our communities. So Unity recognized all the stuff that I was doing, from moving from College of the Muskogee Nation all the way out here to Santa Fe and starting a new life, and just all the things that I've been doing. They've been really, really supportive. So like with the 25 under 25, I was recognized back in July for that. And then upon coming out here, they had asked me if I wanted to do a Wellness Warrior poster, which is basically just a poster that shows 3 different sides of a person. So like, being active or like exercising, and then, if they do business, or mine was art. So I did, 3 different sides of myself, and they put it all into one poster. It's a really cool thing. Mine hasn't come out yet, but it's supposed to come out this fall, and that was a really cool experience. So like, Unity has just been really, really supportive upon coming out here.
Right, and I know that you're very excited to not only be a part of the organization, but like you said, be able to institute some of your own art into the work to help further that organization as well. And I know that you've done big pieces before. Like we said, you were on the show before, and it was because of the mural at Sequoia High School. That mural's still there. It's not going anywhere. And I think you talked a little bit about to Teen Vogue magazine even about how that's sort of a legacy that kids that go to Sequoia for years will be able to see that.
Yeah, that was the whole point of it too. I mean, it's still living on, past me being there. I still get all kinds of questions about it and, just interest on it. But, so yeah, I mean, it's just really been just a good past couple of years. Everything's been leading up to this moment and, just helping me become better with my art.
Yeah, and what's so neat is that you're in Santa Fe now, and it's such a reputable school. So many great Native artists and just artists in general have come from that area and everything like that, but specifically that school. And now that you're there, you're also in a place that holds one of the most prestigious, maybe the most prestigious art events in all of the world, and that's the Santa Fe Indian Art Market in its 97th year. You're out there for that this year, and you are actually able to take part in some really neat events during that week. And what's so cool about it is we think about Indian art, and a lot of people think about jewelry or paintings or pottery or things like that. Now we're seeing a lot of fashion, more Indian designers making clothes, things like that. And you were able to walk the runway on some fashion shows out there. So tell us a little bit about modeling and really how you got into that and how much you enjoy that.
So what really started it was before coming out to Santa Fe, I had saw a couple things on Instagram that were talking about the Santa Fe Indian Art Market, and this was actually my first year going. And it was talking about how they needed models, and I just kind of was like, well, why not? Like, I'm going to be out there right at that time, so might as well try for it. And I got an email back, and I was booked for like 3 different fashion shows, and it was kind of intimidating just because like I've never done anything like that, and it was such a big event, but it was really exciting. They helped us out with everything. But so I got to model at the La Fonda for I Am Anishinaabe. I mean, it was an intimidating thing, but now I have, this experience behind me, and I feel like I could definitely do something with it while I'm out here, because I have so much, especially like you said, like, the Native art is more, it's coming up right now, especially here, which is really, really exciting. So I just think it's a really awesome experience.
Now, is modeling something that you would maybe like to continue now that you've got a little preview of it, or is it something that you didn't think you would do and it was just maybe something that was pretty cool for this one time, or how are you feeling about that?
I definitely think that I could continue it, especially out here. I feel like there's a lot more opportunities for modeling events and stuff like that. It wasn't really something that I was, really going to do, I guess, but the opportunity came, and I honestly really liked it, so we'll just see.
What about art, in general, your art? What are you most focused on artistically and improving and really furthering your education on it out there?
So I'm studying studio arts, but my emphasis is in digital art. I do a lot of like poster design, like t-shirt designs. That's kind of like what I'm into right now is digital art, but I also do a lot of like other mediums. That's just my specific focus for my degree. Right now I'm just doing like a lot of beading and painting and just honestly just trying to see what all I can get into while I'm out here, since there's so many different mediums out here that I could use and so many different opportunities. So it's just a really awesome school to be able to try out different things and just see what I like.
Yeah, and I imagine that it's pretty neat to really talk and meet natives from all over the country that come to that school that are just like you. They're coming from their respective tribes. They're wanting to see what they can do in the art world, and they're just getting started, really. I mean, that must be neat too, to be able to meet all these different types of people from different tribes and find out what life is like back at their nations.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely become more educated on a lot of things here. Because of the diversity and because people are literally coming from all over the United States, even internationally. We have a couple international students here. Mm-hmm. So it's really, really interesting. Like, that's definitely been one of my favorite things about being out here is learning about the other cultures and the other tribes and, how everything is different.
Did you think it helped you maybe, tribal high school, tribal college, now tribal institution, or I mean, not owned by tribe and anything. I just mean an Indian school in all three of those things. You think that's probably helped you a little bit to be able to know sort of what it's like to be sort of that melting pot when you get there?
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely fortunate that I was able to attend, all Native schools pretty much. So like with Sequoia and then College of the Muskogee Nation, and even here it's a tribal school. But here there's a lot more diversity, like I said. So I mean, I've definitely just been really thankful for these past couple of years, and it's just been a whirlwind of like crazy emotions.
Right. Well, we certainly appreciate you carving out a little bit of your day for us. We know that you had some classes earlier and everything like that, so we want to really say thank you for taking some time to talk with us. We know that there's so many people back here in Muskogee Creek Nation to see stories like yours and see young people like you doing great things. It's really a boost for the community, and it's neat to be able to showcase it here on the show. So we're really glad you were able to give us some time today.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye on Maddie Lamb and make sure we're keeping tabs on all the great things she's doing out there and share with everybody back here home at Muskogee Creek Nation. Did you want to say anything to anyone back home here? Make sure everybody knows you're doing okay out there?
I think pretty much everyone keeps up with me, on social media and but I don't know.
That's what Facebook's for, right? All right. Well, hey, Maddie, thanks so much again. And like I said, great having you on the program. And, it seems to be the sky's the limit in the art world. And maybe seeing some great digital art from you here in the future. Maybe for Muskogee Media. Who knows, All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a great time. And we'll talk to you soon, I'm sure.
All righty then.
All right.
Sounds good.
And we want to thank everybody out there for making the show what it was this week. Lots of great content. And that can't happen unless we have people cooperating with us, wanting to come on camera, wanting to share their stories. And it can't happen without you folks out there watching the show each and every week. And a lot of the times, you may not know this, a lot of times you that are watching at home can make a big difference for us. You can call us and tell us what you want to see on the show. Hey, what if you did this? What if you talk to this guy? I know this guy doing this. I know this lady that's doing this. Those are how we get these stories, ladies and gentlemen. We look for them as much as we can, but most of the time we get a great lead. It's from people that are watching us and saying, that would be great on Muskogee Vision. So please call us up, go to MuskogeeMedia.com. Our contact information is on there. Send us some ideas. We'd love to hear from you. We've got a lot of great people out there doing great things in Indian country, and those are the stories we want to tell and bring to you here through your television set and through our online channel. Once again, I always hit you with that, but go to the online channel, click the red subscribe button, watch all of our videos, watch all of our archive material, watch past episodes. It's all there for you. And go to MuskogeeMedia.com. We've got a lot of great things happening in Muskogee Media. We're covering a lot of events, a lot of big issues coming up. We're going to get closure on a lot of big issues coming up too, so you're going to want to stay with MuskogeeMedia.com. For Jared Moore, that pushes all the buttons and does everything behind the scenes, and myself, Jason Salzman, you've been watching Muskogee Vision, and we'll see you next time.